It is time for Bard, the Wandering Caretaker. For the A to Z mini rework are changes that I would make. His damage is a mage. I only half agree with that, the style of slightly more auto attacks. I will admit that he does auto attack a lot because of both of his passive and just because it is a good idea to throw auto attacks in there. But I would say that he does use his abilities a bit more than that. I would say it's honestly pretty close to 50-50. I would agree that his difficulty is 3. That is without a doubt. For his stats, I would definitely, without a doubt, give him 2 damage. Like, I will agree that sometimes he does no damage at all, but other times, if he builds, like, just Lich Banes and nothing more, and, like, everything else is just full support items, he will hurt you. He will hurt you bad. You can go Bard mid and one-shot people. I will agree that he doesn't have high defenses. He has a lot of crowd control. Yeah, okay, he does have a sort of, it's basically a stun, and then a slow slash stun. That's really all that for that, really. His utility is, without a doubt, 3. That's basically his champion in a nutshell. And his mobility, honestly, I might even give this 3 too, just because he has one ability that can travel through any, like, objects, plus he also has this other ability which can increase, people's movement and his own. Okay, a traveler from beyond the stars. Bard is an agent of serendipity who fights to maintain a balance where life can endure the indifference of chaos. Many Runitarians sing songs that ponder his extraordinary nature. Yet they all agree that the cosmic vagabond is drawn to artifacts of great magical power. Surrounded by a jubilant core of helpful spirit meeps, it is impossible to mistake his actions as malevolent, as Bard always serves the greater good in his own odd way. Okay, let's start with Bard. Traveler's Call. Bard's presence causes magic chimes to appear, which grant Bard experience, mana, and a burst of speed. Additionally, lesser spirits follow Bard and aid in his attacks. Collecting chimes causes these meeps to gain power over the course of the game. Plus, he also just gets more meeps as well, but no. Cosmic Binding. Bard fires a missile which will slow the first enemy struck and continue onward. If it strikes a wall, it will stun the initial target. If it strikes another enemy, it will stun them both. Caretaker's Shrine. Reveals a healing shrine which powers up over a short time, disappearing after healing the first ally that touches it. Magical Journey. Bard opens a portal in nearby terrain. Allies and enemies alike can take a one-way trip through that terrain by moving into the portal. Tempered Fate. Bard sends spirit energy arcing to a location, putting all champions, minion, monsters, and turrets hit into stasis for a brief time. Okay. In most cases, I really hate situational abilities. Like, Talon's E, I think, is insanely situational. And I don't like the ability at all, and I think that they should change it. And, like, when they made it in the first place is when I stopped playing Talon, because I loved old Talon. And I will admit, like, the new Talon is harder to play. Can do more damage. Can. But I hate his E enough to where I just don't want to play him. And that's really it. But Bard is super situational. Like, every part of his kit can have, like, 2 different uses, except for, like, his E, and even that can, really. Now, the reason I say this is because when you can use your Q to just get the slow off. You can just throw it out there just to get some damage and get the slow off. If you're just, like, if you know that your jungler's coming in and you're just trying to, like, and there's no minions around. And then his Q is on, like, a pretty small cooldown. At early levels, I think it's pretty reasonable, but, like, later on, it's like, a really small cooldown, which, honestly, I agree with. And he's capable of, like, by the time the jungler comes in and everything for a gank, he can then stun them on a wall or something. And then that's, like, the other use. Like, you can try to hit a minion and then the person, or both the champions. Like, it's his least situational ability, but at the same time, it still has situations where, like, should I use this now and only get the slow? Should I use this now and only stun one of them? Should I, like, flash and try to stun both of them? Because it's pretty slow moving. It's decently fast, but still, like, slow enough where you can dodge it. Then his W. This is the ability I don't really like or dislike this one all that much, honestly. It's also, like, super situational because you can either place it directly beneath your ally and it will just give him an instant heal and speed boost. It will be a very small one, true, but, like, it'll still be there. So, like, if your ADC wants to engage, then you can, and then you get, like, a double stun, but then they both go on your ADC, then you can just throw that under her, and not only will that give her movement speed to escape, but that will also give her health back. You could throw it under yourself because you're not in the fight yet, but then that means that you won't be able to use it in, like, the future. Or you could just build an army of them way back by your tower so that if you guys start losing lane, then your ADC can just jump back and grab one of those to heal. But it's just an ability that I don't really like that much. Just, I don't know, it just is. Magical Journey. This ability is yet again super situational because I've seen bards, like, walk around a map and just, like, E through terrain so that their junglers can also go through the same portal. And then, like, the bard and then the jungler will pop out and be like, here we are. Kind of like when Thresh throws his lantern into, like, the jungle and then hooks someone and then the jungle flings in using the lantern. But, like, and you can use this for, like, either a great escape, a great engage, reasonable engage, honestly, but it can be for, like, a really good escape. You can go through a ton of terrain if you actually angle this thing right. It is only one way, and, like, when people try to follow you, you can easily get a stun off them on the wall because, like, the wall still counts as a, like, the terrain, even if your E's over top of it. So if they go through the portal, then you can shoot your Q, hit them, hit the wall, they're stunned, and then you run away more. And then we have his alt, which is, oh my goodness, this is situational. Like, you can either use this to just try to stop your enemies in place to prevent them from engaging. You can do it to stop them so that your team can, like, gather around them real fast so that as soon as they break free, you just murder them. You can use this on a turret so that you're capable of tower diving and taking, like, no turret shots to only a few. You can use this on your turret if they have, like, a big minion wave moving up towards it, so you guys have enough time to get down there and, like, kill the minions before the turret dies. You could use it on your ally if he's about to die and then, like, set up some sort of escape route or put, like, a W beneath him and then a magical journey on the wall next to him so he can, like, flash into the magical journey type deal after healing. It has a whole lot of different uses. And this ability, like, alone will make or break a bard. Like, I understand that every other ability, honestly, he's a very difficult champion. And I do understand, like, every ability is situational. But, like, you can get through Bard by using his other abilities sparingly. Like, if you use his Q just, like, every time you get a chance, and, like, you try to angle for the stun, and you get it every now and then, honestly, that could do. Same with, like, your W. If you just, like, fling it on yourself only, or just, like, one random person, and you don't really let it charge or anything, that can do. If you use your E just kind of, like, only to chase or to run away, that can do. But if you throw an alt and, like, misangle this thing even a little bit, you could make or break a team fight. Like, you try to fling it onto the enemy team, and then, like, each one of them just moves out the way, and you end up hitting, like, one of your allies or something like that, and then they just build around your ally. He dies. Your ally's about to get a kill, and you, like, fling over your alt to stun him because it's a talent and he's about to jump over a wall, and you're just like, not today. But you end up stunning, he ends up jumping over the wall, and then you end up stunning your laner. Then he's going to blame you because he just got stuck and rejected a kill. Like that, this ability can really make your team angry if you misuse it. And it is like, I'm not going to say it's his bread and butter, but it definitely, it's an ability that you need to be able to use in order to play Bard. Like, that's the big reason I can't play, like, Gragas, is because I always mess up with his alt and angle it just a little bit wrong. And I end up, like, flinging the enemies in some random direction or farther away from us. Now, for Traveler's Calling, Traveler's Call. Now, I really like this ability. Well, passive. Because, honestly, I don't even know why. And yet again, it's a little situational. Because most of the time, when you play Bard, he's a support. So you play him in the bot lane. Now, usually, whether you're winning or losing a lane, you don't want to leave your ADC alone in a 2v1 lane. But Bard does. Bard wants to travel around the map, collecting chimes, and then, like, race back to his ADC, being like, you haven't died yet? Good. Hopefully you don't die in the next minute while I'm still chiming. Now, I will agree that, like, it's a good thing when he chimes, but, like, I don't really agree that a champion that should be staying in, like, one place should really have, like, a play style of roaming a lot. I guess, in a way, it really is, like, if he's gonna roam to, like, other lanes and help the jungle off by ganking mid real fast, or maybe, like, invade the enemy jungle to get some chimes. I would agree with that bit, and that is also, like, part of the situation with it, because the chimes spawn randomly. They can be, like, anywhere except for in enemy bases or your base, I believe. So they can be, like, anywhere that's, like, in the middle parts of the map, like in the jungle and all, in, like, Dragon Pit, I believe, as well, and Baron Pit. But like, and they can land, like, right next to each other or pretty far distances. So as Bard, you just want to, like, leave real fast. You travel through your jungle. You see that your ADC isn't dead yet. You travel through, like, part of their jungle and through the river. You got a good amount of chimes. You come back. Now, I will admit, I would say before, like, his auto attacks hurt with the chimes. Now, I don't know what the cooldown of it is, but, like, every so many auto attacks, when all your chimes hit, it is painful. Because, here, we'll, like, replay the first bit. Like, when you have, like, 4 of these guys just following you, and, like, that happens. Like, you hit with the auto attack, and then they all just ram into the guy, and each one hits for a ton. And then, like, I think once you have, like, either 2 or 3 of them, it does, like, AoE damage behind them. I'm not 100% sure about that one, though. I believe I could be wrong about that. And, like, that, as I said before, it's even more, his entire kit is just situational. Which, to be truthful, I really like, even though usually I hate situational abilities. Now, with the changes that I would make to him is honestly very few. He is a champion that I think as is very good. Now, part of the reason is because he has a ton of counterplay options, which is the things that I love. He has nothing point and click at all, and his CC is pretty reasonable. If anything, I would say, like, with his Q stun would be, like, a bit... I don't think it should have a higher cooldown, but at the same time, I think when he's, like... When you're only fighting one target, or, like, when Bard just jumps on you and he gets one stun off of you, if you, like, either stay by minions or get close to a wall, you will never move. Because by the time the stun ends, he'll only have, like, 1 or 2 more seconds left on his cooldown. So, that's why I'm just like... I don't really agree with that, but at the same time, I don't disagree with it. Because it is just an ability that is closer to late game once he actually has some cooldown reduction and when the ability is maxed as well. So honestly, because of that, I kind of think that it is okay. But at the same time, like, I don't like being perma-CC'd by, like, single champions. But yet I play Gnar. I'm fine with his E. I don't think that should be changed at all. I love it. His W is the ability that I don't like. I know likey. I don't even know, like, fully why I don't like it. It's just a weird ability. I love the fact that it's not at its full strength right away, and that you have to do whatever the heck it's called. You have to, like, let it sit there and wait a moment. Otherwise, it'd be just kind of like it's too strong. But at the same time, I don't really think the ability... I just don't really like it. I'm not entirely sure why. Honestly, do I even, like, have a single actual change for Bard? Huh. I guess, like, as I was saying earlier, I would change his overview, because I would say that he's a bit, like, more abilities than, like, what this is mentioning. I would say that, yes, he's definitely more auto attacks, but at the same time, I'd say it's, like, a lot closer to in the middle than just pure auto attacks. Plus, I'd also increase his damage. But I don't think I'd actually, like, change any part of his kit. Like, I like the chiming bit. At the same time, I don't really like the fact, as I said earlier, that he has to, like, leave his laner. Especially because if they're in a losing lane, he has, like, no time to charm, but I guess that's, like, half the point of it. Wow, I really don't have, like, any actual changes for him. This is the first time I don't have any actual changes for a champion. Bard is Bard. Bard is good as he is. One thing I do want to do is buy Bard and then play Bard in the jungle. But yeah. Well then, I guess we're just moving on to skins because I just don't have any changes to them. Okay. Well then there's a regular Bard skin. There's Elderwood Bard, which I just think is creepy, honestly. With the one eye, I just think it's creepy. Snow Day Bard. I just think it's funny. That's really all there is to it. And Bard. Bard is just great. I don't really like the meeps all that much, and I wish that the meeps kind of were, like, a bit more, like, I don't know, fancy looking. But that's really it. I wish, like, the meeps were more like mini versions of, like, him, but less decorated. Which they are in a way, but not really. And this has been a extraordinarily short champion A to Z rework. Because I don't have any things to change. I think his stun is good. I think late game it's fine. I think W, I don't like the ability, but that's just because of me. But I do honestly think that it's pretty balanced and okay. I think his E is perfect the way that it is, and yeah. I think his ult can make or break, and it's like, just fine. And the only thing I don't like about his passive is that he needs to leave lane to do it, and that he can do a chunk of damage towards late game, but you know, like, still. So I guess the only changes I would make to him are just really his overview, which is, as I said before, I would increase his like mobility potentially 1 more to 3, just because he can travel quite a bit with his E, and it becomes a pretty slow or small cooldown later in the game. Plus his W increases mobility, and his chimes do for him anyway. I would definitely increase his attack up 1 to only 2. I don't think it deserves a 3-star, because even though he can like just one-shot people, but that's not till at least he gets a good amount of charms, and he builds Lich Bane, and he'd have to build like more AP to one-shot, but like he can do a lot, even being like half AP. And then I would move his style to like a little bit closer down the middle. I wouldn't make it even, honestly. I do think he does more. He throws more auto attacks than anything else, but at the same time, I wouldn't make it so that he like wouldn't make it that far over to the right. And there is what's it called? Like when it comes to skins, though. For like a skin idea in general, I don't know the name of it. Oh, Gentleman. I want to see a Gentleman Bard. Like, Gnar has his Gentleman skin. Where is it? Here. Gentleman Gnar. I want to see a Gentleman Bard. That, I believe, would be a good skin, just because it would, like, take his weird, mystic-looking self and turn it into, like, a fancy, like, have, like, all 3 of these are just, like, only his things that we believe are eyes, even though all 3 of them could potentially be eyes, and put, like, hourglasses in front of all of them, or something like that. Like, turn it so that these are both, like, to the side, like, one's here and one's here, and then the middle one, it would be, like, right here. And put, like, did I say an hourglass? I meant to say a monocle. Sorry if I said an hourglass. You should put an hourglass on him, actually. It's somewhere. And then another skin would be, like, the groovy skins, whereas Zillion is, like, all the way at the bottom. I would think that this one would just be, like, funny. No, that's Time Machine. Groovy. But I think that would just be a bit weird, too. But that's just because that one's for more of, like, a comedic one. The Gentleman Gnar I just want just because I think it would actually be, like, a nice skin. Okay. Well, that is the A to Z changes I would make on Bard. Thank you all very much for watching. If you agree or disagree with anything that I've said, please leave a comment. If you actually do have changes, because I didn't really have any changes to his abilities, please tell me. Now, yes, I wasn't really looking at the scaling or anything, but still. Okay, I'm gonna bid you all adieu. Goodbye.